Hello guys, welcome back to Garage Football. Here's our live match reaction to West Ham 0, Everton 1 at the London Stadium. I'm here with John again. Thanks, John, for joining us. Subscribe to Garage Football if you're new, and leave your match thoughts, comments, etc. in the live chat, and we'll get to those. So, John, thanks for joining us again, mate. So, your thoughts on that defeat?
Yeah, welcome. It's nice to be here, man. And it's I don't know where to start, to be honest with you. It's real disappointment. Totally understandable that the side wasn't changed from last week. From last week, from Monday night.
From Monday, yeah.
From playing Burnley. It was great to see Ogbonna on the bench as well for that match. I thought, here we go, and this is really, really good. But fair play to Ancelotti and the tactics he put out for Everton. They played superbly well. They did everything that we couldn't, in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Yeah. I think it was similar to in the first sort of 20 minutes or so, similar to what it was against Burnley, really, but not a huge amount of goal-mouth action. But I think from a West Ham point of view, I was quite encouraged by how we were on the ball in midfield, not necessarily in the attacking areas. We had a lot of triangles. There was good combination patterns and all that. But you probably just summed up most of the game, really.
I'll go then, shall I?
Yeah, no, that's it. Thanks for watching. Shortest
preview on the planet, minute and a half.
yeah. Plus Dennis ain't with us today as well. So, but yeah, there was no real chance for either side that first half at midfield. I didn't see the action zones on Sky. I don't think it come up, but it would have been about at least 50% in maybe even more in that middle third. I thought Alan, he was given man of the match. And rightly so, but
that's debatable. That's debatable, but just purely from the challenges he was making, some of those, he could have easily been sent off. I thought, especially in the first half, Davis was very, very lucky to not be booked for the challenges he was doing. Yeah, we put as always when we make a slightest little tap on someone and bam, it's hello Russ, bam, it's a free kick and a booking. It was just one of those games. It really was one of those games.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And then it was only decided by one goal, which was scored in the 23rd minute. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, not for the first time, scored against West Ham. Godfrey, who played well. We'll get on to the Everton defenders shortly, but he drove forward and passed it to Calvert-Lewin, who took it past Dawson, and it was a nice finish in the bottom corner. I think good play by Calvert-Lewin, but I think one of them. I think could we defended better? I'd say
100%. If it was the other way around, we'd be jumping around saying how much of a good goal that was.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things. It was the fact that Godfrey's time pass to Calvert-Lewin was perfect.
It was. And
the only person that was properly making an effort when you watch the replays was Dawson. Everybody else just went, oh shit, yeah, he's got the ball. You can see in the background Creswell's like jogging, for obvious reasons because he's not going to get anywhere. But it's slack. It really, really is slack from a midfield point of view and defence in general. But having said that, as I said, great movement from Everton, and they fully deserved it. Bar a few little cheating dives and like Richarlison rolling around like he'd been shot in the head every single time. It was. But yeah. Fair play one. But what I want to say about the first half, mate, is what I'm sure we might. I mean, there's not much really to talk about because it's like you said, it's only one goal in it. That we can talk about. We can pick those bones over it for here until 11 o'clock and still not be done with the marking and the movement and everything. But how has Antonio not got a penalty from Keane and Digne jumping into his back? Yet in the second half, very, very early on, he pushes Seamus Coleman over and it's a free kick.
Oh yeah, I think
it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense.
Well, yeah, I think that's what you get with Stuart Atwell in charge. I think he's very inconsistent ref,
mate.
And that's just what.
He's biased. Exactly. Yeah, he's put it very politely. He's massively biased to certain teams. I mean, I've never really had an issue with Atwell. I think you're right. He's not neutral in any shape or form. But the majority of the time he's refereed, 95% of what he's doing is right. But it's just every now and again he comes out with some absolute clangers, clangers. And not for the first time this weekend, unfortunately. Anyway, but like for example, because I watched, obviously, because we've got Brighton next weekend. I watched the Wolves Brighton game, and it's a very good chance for a penalty out of that as well. But it started off as a 50-50 in that game, so it wasn't given. But at the same point, with us, it was just we couldn't. That's one of the reasons why we didn't really have. I mean, we did have a shot on target from Bowen in the second half, but which was chalked out because it was defended well. But as I say, and as I said in my watch along, the reason why we weren't playing all that well was because we couldn't make any tackles. We couldn't go for it, especially in the second half. We started off pretty well, again in the second half.
Yeah, we did.
7 or 8 minutes in, sort of thing. But it was like everyone was being booked or getting free kicks for doing relatively nothing. So it was all sitting back.
It was the stop-start, wasn't it?
But having said that, ball possession overall, decision-making overall, every single header from a free kick or a corner they were on every single time. So again, as I said, fair play to Everton. They got absolutely everything right.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just go back to the chat quickly. So thanks, Mark, friend of the channel. Obviously, really poor off the ball. But yeah, I think we tried. I think we tried hard, but I think, as you rightly said, John, I think the three centre halves for Everton in particular, Mina, Keane, and Godfrey. I thought them three were outstanding. I thought they won pretty much every header, and the reason why Antonio was drifting out wide a lot is because it was them three against him, and they were, they're winning every header. So
absolutely, but at the same time, all of our attacking chances came down the wings every single time. Again with Burnley, I said in my preview that they are susceptible to wing attacks, and you saw that every single time. I thought Lanzini in the first half played really, really well. I thought he did. I thought he was doing a lot, and he was making some great passes between him and Fornals. And his movements were just brilliant. Lingard did everything but score. As I know, a lot of people were probably very critical of him for not scoring, but he put himself about a bit. All right, his ball retention wasn't brilliant in any shape or form. He was making a lot of mistakes. But at the end of the day, my real concern is, and we talked about this last week, so on Monday night, and I said, and I'm asking the question again, just slightly differently. Is Ben Rama's trying too hard, and it's now getting to his detriment? Because I thought it was poor today. I thought he was trying, but it just wasn't working out for him. And everything he was doing, it just wasn't working out.
Yeah, I suppose, but you could say that about pretty much all the other attacking players. They were all on form on Monday, and it wasn't quite their day today. But I think, as we've said, that the Everton's three centre halves and the two in front, Alan and Davis. Yeah. I think they put up a wall and we just couldn't penetrate them. So it was one of them today, I think. Just quickly on the goal, JP. I mean, I think it was a good finish by Calvert-Lewin. Also did his best to get back, couldn't quite so. But I think what goes underrated is actually Richarlison's movement beforehand, because he dropped deep and Diop followed him, and that's what created the space for Godfrey to pass the ball behind. So
it's a fair point. It's absolutely fair point. One of the few moments in the game where Richarlison was on his feet, but yeah, no, it was. It's. I mean, I've always said it's his. He's a very, very talented player. It's a shame that we haven't seen more from him on an international level on many ways. But at the same time, he dives too much. But yeah, there's a very, very talented player in there. Very, very talented player, and you're right. It was the catalyst that started it, and I don't want Diop to be the target for everybody saying that it was his, because at the end of the day, like you just said, mate, most of the team weren't at it today. It was just something was missing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's just go to the live chat quickly. Ryan, part of Garage Football, obviously he's being sarcastic with his time towards to go.
Really?
Obviously, this sarcastic.
What gave the sarcasm away?
Yeah, but obviously Ryan's an Arsenal fan, so I'm definitely still rather have Moyes than bloody Mikel. I'll tell you that much. Thanks for us. Well, slightly wrong. Arsenal were
away record.
Away record. Yeah, so they did have 10 away wins, and now they've got 11. So they much prefer away from home than at Goodison Park. But our West Ham's form, I didn't realise this until the game started. We've got the second best home record this season.
Yeah,
so
might be third now, but
it might be different now after the result today. But no, Everton, they played I have to say a perfect away game. They kept it tight, and they looked a threat every time. Calvert-Lewin had it, and Richarlison, even in the second half, where West Ham just kept going at them. They looked for any even could have scored, which we'll come on to obviously. But let's see. I'll sort more to Arteta. I think you take it. Probably take me, Russ, over Arteta, I'd say. But West Ham, we tried on after the goal where Ben Rama had a shot that was deflected wide, and Lingard had his own effort that I think he tried to catch out Pickford by going to the opposite corner, and he went closer than first thought. But again, mentioned Richarlison, he went close after Calvert-Lewin flicked on. So, and again, a bit of a slow burn the first 20 minutes when it started picking up pace. But then we're going to move to just before half time, 5-6 minutes before half time. Probably our best chance of the entire match, mate. Fornals. I thought of all the attacking players, I thought it was one of our better players, Pablo Fornals today. Fantastic cross to the back post, and one of the rare times where we actually had time and space in the middle, and actually sort of moved Everton's defence from side to side, because it was a really good move before that. And then, as I say, fantastic cross, crossed it to Ben Rama at the back post, and he did everything right, caught it pretty well, diving header, and as you should do, if you talk from a young age, head it back to where it comes from. But unfortunately, as Andy Townsend used to say back in the day, he hit it too well. He headed it too well, or whatever, and it went over. And that was my best chance.
I know, mate, but at the same time, because obviously because the plan was to fox the keeper to get him to move in the wrong way in order to do that. But at the same point, personally, I didn't say it at the time, but watching the replay back after the game finished, I was just sitting there thinking, do it to the closer post. But it's the control, nonetheless. But again, as I said, it's just he tried everything, but again, it just couldn't score. And I think I genuinely think it's really getting to him on a psychological level now, because he's kind of, like for example, when Antonio goes barren for a few games, and you can see that he's trying everything, but it's just not working. Like to a degree, like today, it was trying everything, but it just wasn't clicking for him. Mikey seems to his psychological play. He seems to get in there a lot quicker. But with Ben Rama, at least at the end of the day, at least he's still trying. And that's what we want to see. We want to see him keep going every single game.
Sorry, mate.
All I was going to say was just that there's at the end of the first half, I think it was that the Sky Sports guy said he's had the most chances out of any other Premier League player, and he still hasn't scored yet. And that's the worrying stat. Hopefully, he'll get a decent pre-season with us, and that might change.
No, I completely with everything you just said. I think you still see in the end, Devon. Obviously, you got a great assist on Monday, so at least he's contributing in that sense. And it reminds me a little bit, obviously, completely different in terms of talent and stuff, but still an attacking players. When Carlos was with us that first 4 or 5 months, obviously didn't get in the score sheet, but he was running around everywhere. And trying too hard, as you said, John. So, but still contributing. So hopefully, and when Tevez obviously did go off the mark, obviously he had that great run at the end of that great escape season. Got the score sheet. So hopefully, Ben Rama, whether it's in the remaining 3 fixtures or start next season, he'll once he gets off the mark, he'll go on a scoring run.
Exactly. I mean, we were saying about the same thing about Bowen at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Once he scores, that's it. Bam, he's going to be. And it's difficult for Bowen. I feel sorry for the bloke, because I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a totally justified substitution coming on in the second half. But I feel sorry for him because he does need to. I've been putting him. He's been on my right wing, bar when he had that little tweak earlier in the season. He's been in my starting 11 every single game. So. It's not like there's a bad player in there. It's again, he just needs to get more assists. He needs to bang in a goal here and there, and he'll get a better run out. But it's just horrible that he's the most substituted player.
Yeah, well, you come on today for Lanzini, and it's a shame about Lanzini because just when you think he's going to start getting his form back, I thought, as you say, mate, he played well today, and then gets subbed off injured, and just for half time, and I think that sort of affected us as well.
And also a big worry for Creswell as well. It looks like he's done his groin in by the looks of it, from how he was hobbling off.
Yes, and he's unfortunately picked up some injuries there and lost a couple of months, so hopefully he'll be all right. But I think West Ham, start second half, you could see the intent was there, and there was a real game plan to get the ball wider, quicker, to cross early as well. And I think we did that a few times, but again, apart from that Ben Rama chance, it was just more half chances, and Jordan Pickford had barely anything to save, and that's been our downfall today.
There was an argument that he fouled Antonio. It wasn't intended in any shape or form, but there was an argument he fouled him. But again, it was just like we said earlier, mate. We could have been playing for another bloody week, and we still wouldn't have scored. It's just one of those things. All right, granted, it's for a lot of the fan bases, it's a very, very pivotal game for us, but we still got 3 games to go. It's not like this is the last game of the season. If we blow it against Southampton at the end of the season, then I can understand the reaction. But we've still got those games still to play yet. But as we're saying, mate, there were good signs in there. There were good signs of what was trying to be done. It's just, again, it's that missing element. And I'm sure if Dennis was with us, he'd say, well, maybe that's a natural centre forward that's missing those elements, because some of the balls we were playing in were very good, and there was just nobody there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Moyes tried to do what he can with the substitutions. Obviously, bringing Bowen on for Lanzini, and Yarmolenko come on, but unfortunately, it didn't really work out for him. But on the hour mark, maybe it was probably the best chance of the second half, without a doubt. When Soufal hit the post again, it was a really good move. Not for the first time, Fornells was heavily involved. He found Soufal on the right shoot. He shot first time. Yep. Did everything he could, hit the post, and it sort of hit Bowen, didn't it? Unfortunately, he can tuck it away. I think be a bit harsh if fans had to go at Jared for that, because he tried to, because obviously Pickford's trying to dive to save the shot from Soufal. Yeah, and Bowen's trying to jump over him, and then as he's in the air, that's when he hits it. How can you
because he was offside. If that had gone in, that would have, I guarantee that would have gone to VAR, and they would have chalked it for offside, because it was close. But that's half the reason. It was the fact that he was trying to get out of the way, like you're saying, he's trying to get out of Pickford's way. But that's why when you see the ball deflect off Bowen, a lot of the Everton players are turning around going, "Hang on, what's going on here?" So like, to say that it was a foul, or it was offside. It was one of the two. But yeah. That would have been even worse, mate. If that had gone in the back of the net and that went to VAR saying it was potentially offside, that would have been harsh. That would have been bad. But we keep going over, mate. We didn't really deserve anything out of today from the performance overall. From individual players, yes, some of them, but as a starting 11, I don't get me wrong. I thought Fabianski pulled off some really good saves. Good saves. I mean, Everton didn't have that many on target before, but what they did, very good saves.
Yeah, exactly. And Everton, they sat back, defended deep, defended in numbers, but they still had some chances. I mean, Lingard obviously not known for his defending so much, but he put in an amazing block on Seamus Coleman when he was through after one of Everton's mini counters, and sub Josh King who come off for Richarlison at the post. So they still had some chances, but
what was that? Was his second or third touch? When I think it was literally about a minute or so after he came on.
I think his first one was to find Calvert-Lewin, who then turned and then crossed it back for King, who hit it against the post. But I think sometimes we just showed plenty of endeavour. We kept banging on the door, but unfortunately Everton didn't let us in. As we go back to the 3 centre halves, and Alan and Davis, they put in a real shift, particularly Alan, and he was my man in the match personally, and Alan Smith went with that. So sometimes you just have to applaud and Everton are a good side. So I don't think there's obviously we want to win. there's not many games left in the season, but yeah, I think it was just one of those. If we had more options on the bench, we'd come back to it. But yeah, I think they frustrated us, and they put in a real shift, and Ancelotti's game plan worked perfectly. So
absolutely,
fair play.
And like you're saying, it's just the fact that, you know, I don't think our season's over like a lot of people are going to be reacting now, because let's put it in perspective. We were fighting to stay at 16th this time last year, literally by the calendar this time last year, and now we're trying to get into the top 6. It's not an unsuccessful season in any shape or form. Yes, all right, it'd be nice to try and finish in the top, secure ourselves in the top 6, but you know, especially with Liverpool beating Southampton earlier today, Arsenal are playing West Brom at the time of this recording, so that's gonna. I mean, West Brom are all but relegated anyway, as are Fulham. So, you know, we've got if we want to finish in Europe, we've got to win the next 3, and I can't see 9 points out of it. I really can't. But you never know.
No, yeah, I think Saturday against Brighton will be very tough. You know, I think Graham Potter's done an amazing job at Brighton.
Absolutely.
But you know, I think like we did against Wolves. You know, it was about time we won against Wolves, and we did it twice. And I think Saturday's about time we actually beat Brighton, because we haven't beaten them yet since they got promoted. So
exactly, yeah, it's been 5 bloody years, man. Come on, there's got to be something. But
yeah, so hopefully, but. Yeah, as long as we've got to get a point, at least a point. Obviously, got to try and win, but at least a point. And then the final 2 games, I'd like to think we'd get 6 points out of those.
I don't know. You know, I mean, West Brom, I say they're all but mathematically relegated, and they will be putting up a fight literally from now until the day the season's finished. You know,
they're pretty much down, mate. So
I know, but they will still fight. They will still fight. You know,
but we've got. Look at where we are. We should be beating them. And then Southampton, our record against Southampton home and away has been excellent over the last few seasons. And
absolutely,
but nothing to play for. So,
well, they do, because they want to try and finish as best as they can. All teams, every single team's got something to play for.
No, but realistically, they're not fighting for Europe. They're not getting relegated. So technically, they haven't got anything to play for.
I mean that's the Sky Sports rhetoric I've never agreed with. But at the same time, though, mate, as I say, there are no easy games in the Premier League. There never has been, and there never will be.
Oh, no, of course.
But on paper, yes, we should.
But John, as we've proven this season, they're the games we have won this season. Is my point. So, you know, West Brom, Southampton, we should be beating, and Brighton will be very tough. But I don't see why we can't go there and win. So there's still 9 points.
I'm not disagreeing with you, mate. It's just the fact that I'm just looking at it more at the bigger picture. Is the fact that yes, they should be. I haven't disagreed with you at all. Yes, they should be, but doesn't mean that we will.
No,
we should. On that logic, we should have beaten Everton today, because we beat them up. We beat them up at Goodison Park. Didn't happen for the reasons that we've discussed. So you know, I seem to be the only football fan that doesn't think that with West Brom, for example, they had a completely different manager then, and then we're going to be facing in a week and a half's time. It's a midweek game as well, for that matter. Bearing in mind we'll be playing on the Saturday, and then we've got the game on the Wednesday, and then we've got the Southampton game after that as well on the Sunday. It's not going to be easy, and as I say, with Creswell out potentially for however long he's going to be out for, if he is going to be out, Creswell's a player that we really, really need to keep in the team as much as possible, because he's a key player. You know, in the same way that Rice is a key player. If we're out of key players, because again, as we've talked about before, because of how thin our squad is, we need everybody fit, and we can't just assume because we beat them last time round, whereas we might not we're going to beat them this time, because the players are going to be different, the tactics are going to be different. Southampton's tactics at home are totally different to how they were away for this season. You know, it was great. It was great that it was a 4-goal game in that. It was a very good point that we picked up against Brighton, but like you're saying, we haven't beaten them since we were down in the Championship. It's not going to be a foregone conclusion.
No, I haven't said it will be. But anyway, thanks, John, for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Subscribe to Gash Football if you're new, like this video if you enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe to John's channel as well. Thanks for watching. Take care.